Welcome to our channel Valuable Coins All World. In this video, I gave you information about United States of America Washington quarter dollar coin. Composition of this coin is first element is copper 75%, and the second element is nickel 25%, and weight of this coins is 5.67 grams, and the diameter is 24.26 millimeter, and the thickness of this coin is 1.75 millimeter. If you interested, please see this full video. Thanks. Top 1. The 1965 Washington quarter dollar is a coin that has intrigued both numismatists and casual collectors alike for decades. Though it's part of the iconic Washington quarter series, it carries with it a rich story of change, a pivotal moment in American history, and the twists of fate that make certain coins stand out far above others in terms of rarity and value. To fully appreciate the significance of the 1965 Washington quarter, let's first take a step back in time and explore the circumstances surrounding its creation. In the mid-1960s, the United States was undergoing a period of great economic and social change. The country was in the midst of the civil rights movement, and the post-war economic boom was beginning to slow. During this time, there were also significant shifts in the nation's coinage, driven largely by rising costs of precious metals. In 1965, Congress passed legislation that eliminated silver from most circulating U.S. coins. This was a monumental change. Prior to this, quarters, dimes, and half dollars had all been struck in 90% silver, a tradition that had been in place for over a century. The decision to remove silver from these coins was made due to a shortage in the nation's silver supply, which, in turn, had driven up the cost of minting silver coins. As a result, in 1965, the U.S. Mint began producing quarters with a core of copper-nickel, leaving behind the silver content that had once been a hallmark of the design. This was a significant moment in numismatic history, and it's part of what makes the 1965 Washington quarter so interesting. While the design itself remains largely unchanged from earlier versions, the metal composition and the economic context give it a certain historical weight. The obverse of the coin still features the familiar profile of George Washington, the first president of the United States, designed by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932. This side of the coin exudes the dignity and leadership of Washington, and its timeless appeal has made the Washington quarter one of the most recognizable coins in American history. But what makes the 1965 Washington quarter particularly notable? It's all about the specifics, the details that collectors obsess over. For one thing, the 1965 quarter was struck at several different mints, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Typically, collectors pay close attention to the mint mark on coins, as it indicates where the coin was produced. Coins minted in San Francisco, especially those that were not intended for circulation, are often prized by collectors for their lower production numbers. The Philadelphia Mint produced quarters with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint quarters carry the familiar D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced coins with an S mint mark. However, the key to understanding the value of the 1965 Washington quarter lies not just in its mint mark, but in the specific variations and potential errors that occur during the minting process. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the discovery of rare or unusual variations, and in this case, the 1965 quarter is no exception. The 1965 Washington quarter has been found in various conditions, with some examples being particularly rare or showing notable features that set them apart from standard issues. These rarities could range from slight misstrikes to full-blown minting errors that are so rare they can dramatically increase a coin's value. This is where things start to get interesting. For example, a 1965 Washington quarter with a noticeable double-die error, where the design is struck more than once, can be worth significantly more than a standard quarter. These types of errors, though they seem minor at first glance, can make all the difference to collectors, especially those who are looking for an addition to their collection that is truly unique. Other variations, like off-center strikes, can also cause the value to skyrocket, as they are considered highly collectible due to their rarity and the skill it takes to spot them. The allure of the 1965 Washington quarter isn't just about its design or the potential for finding a rare error coin. It's also about its connection to American history and the stories behind the change in U.S. coinage. The decision to remove silver from the coinage was a significant moment in American history, and collectors love having a piece of that history in their collections. For many, owning a 1965 Washington quarter is a way to own a tangible connection to a period of great social and economic transformation in the United States. But perhaps most enticing of all is the fact that certain 1965 Washington quarters, in exceptional condition or with rare errors, can fetch astonishing prices at auction. It's these rare coins that have caused a stir in the numismatic community and generated headlines when they're sold for six-figure sums. The current value of a 1965 Washington quarter might not seem like much if you're looking at a coin in average condition, but when you get your hands on one that is pristine, or better yet, a rare error coin, you could be looking at an investment worth tens of thousands. or even more. In fact, one particular 1965 Washington quarter recently sold for an eye-popping $189,700, making it one of the most valuable quarters from the era. This sale shocked even the most seasoned coin collectors and gave the 1965 Washington quarter a whole new level of prestige. So, what makes a coin like this worth so much? The answer lies in the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance. Coins that are well preserved, particularly those with limited production runs, unusual errors, or other factors that make them stand out, often go on to become highly sought after by collectors. A coin's rarity is directly tied to how many were minted, how many were preserved over the years, and whether any unique or special features were involved in the minting process. Coins that were produced in smaller numbers or those with significant flaws tend to be rarer and therefore more valuable. For anyone interested in starting a coin collection or investing in rare coins, the 1965 Washington quarter is a great example of how an unassuming coin, when found in exceptional condition or with a unique characteristic, can become an asset worth far more than its face value. Whether you're hunting for a coin to complete your set or hoping to stumble upon an error coin that could make you a small fortune, the 1965 Washington quarter is a coin that has the potential to make any collector's dream come true. As the numismatic market continues to evolve, so too does the interest in coins like the 1965 Washington quarter. Each year, new collectors enter the market, eager to find their own treasures, while seasoned collectors continue to track the rarest and most valuable pieces to add to their collections. For some, the thrill lies in the search, while for others, it's all about owning a piece of history that could one day be worth a small fortune. In conclusion, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar is more than just a coin. It's a piece of American history that carries with it stories of change, of challenges, and of the enduring appeal of coin collecting. From its early days as part of a significant shift in U.S. coinage, to its rise as a highly sought-after collectible, the 1965 Washington quarter continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. And, as we've seen, the value of certain 1965 Washington quarters can be staggering, with some examples commanding prices upwards of $189,700. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or a casual collector, the 1965 Washington quarter remains a coin worth paying attention to, a symbol of history, artistry, and the enduring allure of rare, valuable coins. Top 2. When it comes to American coinage, few are as instantly recognizable and steeped in history as the Washington quarter. First minted in 1932, the Washington quarter is a coin that has remained largely unchanged in design for decades. But while the coin's design has stayed consistent, certain years in its long history have produced rarities and anomalies that draw the attention of collectors, and the 1967 Washington quarter is one such example. The 1967 Washington quarter stands at a unique crossroads in American history, a time of social upheaval, economic change, and cultural transformation. To understand why this coin has earned a special place in the world of numismatics, we must first take a look at the broader historical context of the mid-1960s. This period was marked by significant events such as the Civil Rights Movement, the Vietnam War, and the space race. While these monumental changes were shaping the course of history, another change was quietly taking place in the world of American coinage. In the mid-1960s, the United States faced a growing problem: the rising cost of silver. For years, quarters, dimes, and half-dollars had been struck in 90% silver, but with the demand for silver increasing worldwide, the U.S. government decided to eliminate the precious metal from most of its circulating coins. The transition began with the 1965 coinage, when silver was removed from dimes and quarters in favor of a copper-nickel alloy. The change would ultimately lead to a rethinking of America's coinage system, but in 1967, the Washington quarter still bore its iconic design, created by artist John Flanagan back in 1932, despite the shift in materials. The obverse of the 1967 Washington quarter remains as familiar as ever, showcasing a left-facing bust of George Washington, the first president of the United States. His likeness is framed by the legend Liberty above and the date 1967 below. The coin's reverse, on the other hand, features a majestic eagle in flight, with United States of America inscribed along the top and the words E pluribus unum displayed beneath the eagle's wings. The coin's design exudes patriotism and strength, which explains why it has remained unchanged for so long. But while the design may have remained constant, there are certain features of the 1967 Washington quarter that set it apart from the coins that came before it. While the majority of these quarters were struck in Philadelphia and Denver, the mint produced relatively few special or error-struck coins during this period. The years surrounding 1967, particularly in the mid-1960s, are often overlooked in the world of coin collecting, but there's more to the 1967 Washington quarter than meets the EYE.at first glance. A 1967 Washington quarter might appear to be just another run-of-the-mill coin. But as with many collectibles, the value lies in the details. And in the case of this particular coin, certain unique characteristics can make all the difference. To understand what makes the 1967 Washington quarter so desirable, we need to take a closer look at the potential for rare variants and errors. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the discovery of coins that feature minting errors or irregularities. These imperfections often occur during the minting process and can greatly enhance the value of a coin. While not every 1967 Washington quarter is going to be a high-value find, there are examples that have surfaced with notable minting flaws that attract the attention of collectors. These errors may include double strikes, off-center strikes, or even instances where the die used to strike the coin was damaged or worn, leading to a misaligned or faded design. A 1967 Washington quarter with an error like this could be worth far more than its face value, potentially fetching a premium price at auction. Beyond the potential for minting errors, the 1967 Washington quarter has drawn attention from collectors due to its association with a significant moment in American history. The mid-1960s was a time when the United States was transitioning away from the use of precious metals in its coinage. While the 1967 quarter was no longer made of silver, the decision to remove this important component from U.S. coinage marked a turning point that reshaped the country's relationship with its own currency. As a result, the 1967 Washington quarter is viewed as a symbol of change and transformation in American society. For coin collectors, there's something inherently appealing about owning a piece of history, something that encapsulates a moment in time and the events that shaped it. While the 1967 Washington quarter might not have the immediate precious metal value that earlier quarters did, it holds historical significance that can't be overlooked. To some, owning a 1967 quarter is a way to connect with the turbulent years of the 1960s and to hold a tangible piece of the past. But what really drives the value of the 1967 Washington quarter, and what collectors are most interested in, is the potential for high-grade examples of the coin. Just like with any collectible, condition plays a huge role in determining the value of a coin. The 1967 Washington quarter, when found in mint state (MS), can be worth significantly more than a coin that has been worn down through circulation. Mint state coins are those that have been well preserved and show little to no signs of wear. The sharper the details, the better the grade, and consequently, the higher the value. In addition to high-grade examples, collectors are especially interested in finding rare varieties or coins with special characteristics. A 1967 Washington quarter with an unusual characteristic or flaw can cause a bidding frenzy at auctions, especially among die-hard collectors. It's not just about owning a coin. It's about finding something unique, something that sets a collection apart from others. As with many coins from this era, there are also instances where a specific 1967 Washington quarter is tied to an interesting story or discovery. Coins with historical significance, whether it's their connection to a larger event or an unexpected rarity, have a way of captivating collectors. In some cases, the mere story of how a particular coin was found can elevate its value in the eyes of collectors. In 1967, the United States Mint produced millions of quarters for circulation, and most of these coins passed through the hands of everyday Americans. But not all of them were created equal. The number of coins that survived in pristine condition or with rare flaws is limited, making those that do surface all the more desirable. For collectors, these coins are like hidden treasures, waiting to be discovered. Now, let's get to the big question. Just how much is a 1967 Washington quarter worth today? While most 1967 quarters may only be worth face value or a little more depending on their condition, there are certain examples that have sold for astonishing prices. For the right example, one that is either in impeccable condition or has a rare minting error, the price can skyrocket. In fact, the highest recorded sale for a 1967 Washington quarter has reached an incredible $180,700, a price that speaks to the rarity, desirability, and historical significance of these coins. This remarkable sale has helped cement the 1967 Washington quarter as one of the most sought-after coins for collectors looking for a unique piece of American history. Whether it's the result of an error coin or simply an exceptionally well-preserved example, the value of this quarter can be astounding. In conclusion, the 1967 Washington quarter dollar may seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, but its rich historical context, unique characteristics, and potential for rare errors have made it a prized possession for collectors. From its design that pays tribute to George Washington's legacy to its place in the transition away from silver in U.S. coinage, the 1967 Washington quarter captures a pivotal moment in American history. And, for those lucky enough to find a high-grade example or a coin with a minting error, the value can be nothing short of extraordinary. As we've seen, a rare 1967 Washington quarter can fetch a stunning $180,700, showing just how much collectors are willing to pay for a coin that tells a deeper story than its face value would suggest. Whether you're an experienced numismatist or a newcomer to the world of coin collecting, the 1967 Washington quarter serves as a reminder of how history, rarity, and condition can come together to create something truly valuable. Top 3. The 1974 Washington quarter dollar is a coin that sits at an interesting crossroads in American history, with its design steeped in tradition and its context shaped by a changing landscape. To truly appreciate the 1974 Washington quarter, we need to explore the events that made this year stand out, understand its design, examine the minting process, and finally, dive into what makes it so desirable to collectors today. By the early 1970s, the United States was entering a period of transition, economically, politically, and socially. The country had endured the turbulence of the 1960s, which included significant social upheaval, the Civil Rights Movement, and the Vietnam War. The 1970s ushered in a new era of disillusionment, particularly marked by the Watergate scandal, which led to the resignation of President Richard Nixon in 1974. The fallout from this scandal and the shifting national mood were mirrored in the world of coinage. But amid this turbulence, the 1974 Washington quarter stood as a familiar and comforting symbol. The design of the quarter had not changed since its inception in 1932. Created by John Flanagan, the Washington quarter featured an image of the first president of the United States, George Washington, on the obverse, and a powerful eagle in flight on the reverse. This design had become one of the most recognized and enduring symbols of American coinage. In 1974, the U.S. Mint produced a staggering number of quarters, reflecting both the growing economy and the increasing need for circulating coins. While millions of these coins were minted, the year would mark a moment of change in American coinage history, not in the design of the coins themselves, but in the materials and production methods being used. In 1965, the United States had moved away from using silver in most of its circulating coins, including the quarter. While the Washington quarter had once been struck in 90% silver, by 1974, the coin was composed of a copper-nickel-clad metal, which had replaced the precious metal to cut costs. This shift was part of a broader trend aimed at preserving silver for other uses, such as in the jewelry industry. Consequently, the 1974 Washington quarter no longer held the same value as its silver predecessors, but the design remained just as iconic. However, it wasn't just the shift in materials that set the 1974 Washington quarter apart. The early 1970s were also marked by a surge in interest in coin collecting, which would eventually give rise to a boom in the value of certain coins, particularly those from the 1960s and early 1970s. As a result, many collectors were keenly focused on the 1974 Washington quarter, seeking to find those that might have been produced with unique features, minting errors, or particularly high-quality strikes. But before diving into what makes the 1974 Washington quarter so intriguing to collectors, let's take a closer look at its design. On the obverse, we still see the familiar image of George Washington, based on a bust by artist Jean-Antoine Houdon, a French sculptor. Washington's profile, elegant and dignified, was meant to reflect his role as the father of the nation, and it has done so with timeless appeal since its introduction in 1932. Surrounding Washington's portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty" at the top and the year 1974 beneath. The motto, "In God We Trust," is also featured to the right of his bust. On the reverse of the coin, the design features a majestic bald eagle, the symbol of American strength and freedom. The eagle is shown in flight, with its wings spread wide, representing the nation's ideals of independence and ambition. Above the eagle is the inscription "United States of America," and below, the coin reads "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many one," reflecting the unity of the United States. While the design of the 1974 Washington quarter stayed true to the original, it was still produced in vast quantities. Over 600 million quarters in total were minted that year. These coins were minted at 3 different facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, without a mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a D, and the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Each mint facility produced quarters in different quantities, which can sometimes impact their rarity or collector demand. The overwhelming majority of 1974 Washington quarters were made for regular circulation. However, during the 1970s, a significant number of proof coins were also produced for collectors. These proof coins, minted using special techniques that give them a high-gloss, mirror-like finish, are highly sought after by numismatists due to their pristine condition and striking appearance. Proof coins from the 1970s, including the 1974 quarters, are often in much better condition than coins released into circulation, making them an attractive addition to any collection. Though most 1974 Washington quarters are relatively easy to find in circulation, it's the rare examples, particularly those that have been well-preserved or feature errors, that have earned the attention of serious coin collectors. Like any coin, The condition of a 1974 Washington quarter plays a critical role in determining its value. Coins that are in mint state, which means they show no signs of wear or damage, are far more valuable than coins that have been circulated. Mint state quarters are graded on a scale from MS 60, the lowest grade for uncirculated coins, to MS 70, the highest grade, which represents a flawless coin. In addition to the typical wear and tear that occurs when coins are circulated, there are also unique and rare errors that occur during the minting process. Coins with errors, whether it's a double die, an off-center strike, or a broken die, are prized among collectors because they are so difficult to find. These error coins can make a 1974 Washington quarter far more valuable than a standard coin in excellent condition. Some of the most sought-after 1974 quarters include those struck at the San Francisco Mint, particularly the proof coins, as well as those with minting errors. These error coins, which are often discovered by keen-eyed collectors or through auctions, can fetch significant sums. In fact, rare errors can increase the value of a coin exponentially, as collectors value the rarity of such pieces and the chance to own something unique. A 1974 Washington quarter with an error, especially one with a notable double die or off-center strike, could be worth far more than its face value. Now, let's take a moment to discuss the value of the 1974 Washington quarter and why it has gained attention from collectors. While most 1974 quarters aren't worth more than their face value unless in exceptional condition, there are a number of reasons why some coins from this year command higher prices. The combination of rarity, condition, and demand makes some 1974 Washington quarters extraordinarily valuable. For example, one particularly rare 1974 Washington quarter, an example in pristine MS 67 condition, recently fetched a stunning $167,700 at auction. This sale turned heads in the numismatic community, further establishing the 1974 quarter as a highly desirable coin for serious collectors. This record price for a 1974 Washington quarter was due to its exceptional quality, which made it stand out even among other high-grade examples from that year. The 1974 Washington quarter's rise in value can be attributed not only to its rarity and condition, but also to the growing interest in coins from the 1970s. As collectors look for specific years, varieties, and error coins to complete their collections, the 1974 Washington quarter has become one of the most sought-after pieces from that era. Its historical significance, combined with its potential for error coins and high-quality examples, has solidified its place in the world of numismatics. In conclusion, the 1974 Washington quarter dollar may seem like just another coin from the 1970s, but its historical context, iconic design, and potential for rare finds make it an important piece in the world of coin collecting. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just starting your collection, the 1974 Washington quarter offers something for everyone. From its connection to American history and the cultural shifts of the 1970s to its appeal among collectors seeking high-quality examples or minting errors, the 1974 Washington quarter is a coin that continues to captivate and excite as we've seen. Certain 1974 Washington quarters can be worth a staggering $167,700, a testament to the enduring value and allure of this iconic coin. Whether you're holding a pristine example in your hand or hunting for a rare minting error, the 1974 Washington quarter is a coin that is sure to leave an impression, both on collectors and history alike. Top 4. The 1979 Washington quarter dollar holds a special place in American coinage, a seemingly unassuming coin that, with the right conditions, can be worth far more than its face value. To truly understand what makes this coin so remarkable, we need to journey through its historical context, design evolution, and the key factors that drive its value today. As we delve into the significance of the 1979 Washington quarter, we'll uncover why this coin has captivated the interest of collectors, with its modern appeal resting on a fascinating blend of history, rarity, and condition. The late 1970s was a decade of significant change and transformation in the United States. This period saw a resurgence of American pride and patriotism in the wake of the turbulent 1960s and early 1970s. The country was experiencing political shifts, economic challenges, and the aftermath of the Vietnam War. In 1979, the United States was still feeling the effects of the oil crisis, which had led to soaring energy prices and economic instability. The world was changing, and so was the face of American coinage. For much of the 20th century, the design of U.S. coins had been largely static, but by the late 1970s, the U.S. Mint was preparing for a new phase in its production. The 1979 Washington quarter, however, maintained its design, which had been used since 1932, the year the coin was first introduced. The Washington quarter was one of the longest-running designs in U.S. history, and it stood as a testament to the enduring legacy of George Washington, the first president of the United States. At the time the 1979 Washington quarter was minted, the country was transitioning away from the heavy use of silver in coinage. Since 1965, U.S. coins, including the Washington quarter, had been minted with a copper-nickel composition. While the 1979 quarter didn't hold the precious metal value of its earlier counterparts, its significance lay in its symbolic connection to Washington's legacy and the enduring traditions of American coinage. The design of the Washington quarter, created by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932, was as iconic in 1979 as it had been when it was first introduced. The obverse of the coin depicts a left-facing bust of George Washington, framed by the inscription Liberty at the top and the year 1979 at the bottom. The words "In God We Trust" also appear to the right of Washington's portrait. The reverse, on the other hand, features the familiar image of an eagle in flight, representing the nation's strength and freedom. Above the eagle, the words United States of America are inscribed, while E pluribus unum appears beneath the eagle's wings, a reminder of the unity that underpins the country's identity. For most people, the 1979 Washington quarter was just another coin in their pockets. Yet, for collectors, this coin was part of a broader story, one that stretched back nearly half a century and continued to evolve as new generations discovered the joy and artistry of coin collecting. In terms of its minting details, the 1979 Washington quarter was produced at 3 different U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Like most years, the Philadelphia Mint produced quarters without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint quarters were marked with the familiar D mint mark. San Francisco, known for producing proof coins, struck high-quality quarters with an S mint mark. While these differences may seem subtle, they are an important consideration for collectors, as some mint marks are rarer than others, and some collectors focus their efforts on acquiring coins from specific mints. However, the most intriguing aspect of the 1979 Washington quarter isn't the basic design or the mint marks. What truly makes this coin stand out to collectors is the possibility of rare errors or special conditions that can greatly enhance its value. The 1979 quarter is an example of how small variations in the minting process can create highly collectible and valuable coins. One of the most notable errors associated with the 1979 quarter is the wide rim error, a mistake that occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned. This misalignment can create a wider than usual rim around the coin, which is a highly sought-after feature among collectors. Such errors are rare, but when they do appear, they can drive up the value of a coin exponentially. Beyond the errors, the condition of the 1979 Washington quarter plays a major role in determining its value. As with most collectible coins, those that are well preserved and show little to no signs of wear are worth significantly more than those that have been heavily circulated. High-grade 1979 Washington quarters, particularly those in MS, 65 or higher grades, can fetch a higher price due to their pristine condition. Collectors prize these coins because they represent an ideal version of the coin, a specimen that has been shielded from the wear and tear of everyday USE. In addition to its wide rim errors and high-grade examples, there are other aspects of the 1979 Washington quarter that make it attractive to collectors. The coin's connection to American history, its iconic design, and the fact that it represents a transitional period in U.S. coinage all contribute to its appeal. Coins minted in the 1970s are often looked at with nostalgia, as they represent a moment in time that is now part of history. For collectors, owning a 1979 quarter is not just about having a piece of currency from that era, it's about owning a tangible connection to the cultural and political atmosphere of the time. While many collectors focus on collecting coins based on their rarity, historical significance, or design features, others are drawn to the challenge of building a complete set of Washington quarters. The 1979 coin is an integral part of that collection, and for those who are completing a set, finding a pristine or error-struck example can be a moment of excitement. Whether it's adding a mint mark variety, a high-grade coin, or an error piece, the 1979 Washington quarter offers many opportunities for collectors to expand their collections in meaningful ways. But now, we get to the part that every coin collector is eager to learn about: the value of the 1979 Washington quarter. While most of these coins are worth only their face value or a modest premium, there are specific examples that have sold for extraordinary amounts. This is where the combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance truly pays off. 1 1979 Washington quarter, which was graded at a pristine MS, 67, and had the desirable wide rim error, recently sold for an astonishing $154,700 at auction. This particular sale left collectors and investors alike stunned, proving just how valuable certain 1979 quarters can be when they meet the right conditions. The sale not only set a new benchmark for the coin's value, but also highlighted the growing interest in rare minting errors and high-grade examples from the late 20th century. How does a coin like this achieve such a high price? It all comes down to the factors that make it special. The combination of a rare minting error, flawless preservation, and historical appeal led to this 1979 Washington quarter becoming a highly coveted item among collectors. When you factor in the rarity of wide rim errors, the value of pristine, uncirculated coins, and the fact that this coin has become a symbol of a specific moment in American history, it's easy to see why it commanded such an impressive sum at auction. As the numismatic world continues to evolve, coins like the 1979 Washington quarter will only increase in appeal. Collectors are always searching for the next big find, whether it's a rare error coin or a perfectly preserved example. And for those with an eye for quality, the 1979 Washington quarter offers plenty of opportunities for discovery. In conclusion, the 1979 Washington quarter dollar is much more than just another coin in circulation. It's a part of American history, a piece of art, and a symbol of the times it was minted in. From its iconic design to its connection to the legacy of George Washington, the coin continues to be a source of fascination for collectors. Whether it's the appeal of high-grade examples, the thrill of discovering rare minting errors, or the desire to own a piece of history, the 1979 Washington quarter has proven to be a valuable addition to any collection. And as we've seen, the value of the 1979 Washington quarter can be astonishing, with rare examples selling for as much as $154,700. So, the next time you come across one of these quarters, take a moment to appreciate its potential. It might just be worth more than you think. Top 5. The 1983 Washington quarter dollar may seem like a simple coin, part of the vast collection of quarters circulating in the United States, but in the world of coin collecting, it represents something much more. Something valuable, historic, and full of potential. Understanding what makes this coin so sought after requires delving into its history, the design it carries, its minting details, and the factors that drive its collector appeal. And, of course, we'll explore the mind-blowing value of certain 1983 Washington quarters today, culminating in a grand reveal that will leave you in a in the early 1980s. America was in a period of transition. The country had survived the economic challenges of the 1970s, which included stagflation and the energy crisis, and was entering a new decade with hopes of economic recovery. The 1980s ushered in an era of optimism, but also political change, with Ronald Reagan taking office as president. On the surface, the 1983 Washington quarter might appear to be a simple product of its time. A coin circulating among the general public, made from a combination of copper and nickel, a composition that had been standard for U.S. coins since 1965. Yet, beneath the surface, this coin is a symbol of both tradition and change in American coinage. The Washington quarter, first introduced in 1932, had been an enduring symbol of American coinage. Its design featured the profile of George Washington, based on a bust sculpted by Jean-Antoine Houdon, a French artist. The coin's design was both dignified and timeless, honoring the nation's first president. For over 5 decades, the Washington quarter had retained the same design, apart from the removal of silver from the composition in the 1960s. In 1983, the coin was still circulating in its classic form, yet there were significant shifts happening behind the scenes. While the 1983 Washington quarter had been made from a copper-nickel-clad composition since the mid-1960s, its design remained untouched. The obverse, or head side, continued to feature George Washington's left-facing bust, surrounded by the inscriptions "Liberty" at the top, "In God We Trust" to the right, and the year 1983 at the bottom. Washington's presence on the coin was iconic, his face a symbol of the strength and unity of the nation he helped to found. The reverse, or tail side, of the coin remained just as familiar to coin collectors and the general public. The eagle, the symbol of America's freedom and strength, was shown in flight, wings spread wide, signifying both the national pride and power that the country represented. Above the eagle, the words "United States of America" are displayed, while the phrase "E pluribus unum," meaning "out of many one," is inscribed below the bird. This design, which had been introduced by John Flanagan in 1932, was not only a reflection of Washington's legacy, but also an emblem of the unity and freedom that defined the nation. But while the design of the 1983 Washington quarter was consistent with earlier years, there was something noteworthy about the 1983 minting process. The United States Mint had produced large numbers of coins in the previous decade, as part of a push to meet the demands of a growing economy. The 1983 Washington quarter was no different, with millions being minted in 3 locations: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; the Denver Mint, denoted by the D mint mark; and the San Francisco Mint, designated with an S mint mark for proof coins. These distinctions, though subtle, play a significant role in a collector's interest in a particular coin. However, while millions of 1,983 quarters were produced, it wasn't the sheer number of these coins that made them remarkable. It was the subtle differences in production and the possibility of errors that piqued the interest of collectors. Minting errors, whether it's a double die, a misaligned strike, or a poorly executed design, can add tremendous value to a coin. And as it happens, the 1983 Washington quarter was not immune to such errors. One of the key errors associated with the 1983 Washington quarter was the occurrence of die polishing or die wear, which is where the die used to strike the coin begins to lose its sharpness and produces weak or uneven strikes. These errors are highly coveted by collectors because they are relatively rare and can make a coin stand out among the millions of perfectly struck quarters. For those looking for something special, the 1983 Washington quarter, with its subtle imperfections, offers the perfect opportunity to discover something truly unique. In addition to die errors, the quality of the 1983 Washington quarters varied widely. As with any coin, the grade or condition of the coin plays a massive role in determining its value. Most of the 1983 quarters that were circulated would have been subject to wear and tear, diminishing their appeal to collectors. However, a small percentage of the coins remained in mint condition, especially those from the San Francisco Mint that were specifically struck as proof coins. These proof coins were made with higher quality control measures, resulting in a pristine, mirror-like finish. Proof coins, which are specially made for collectors, have always been highly prized, and those from the 1983 minting are no exception. The 1983 Washington quarter, especially in higher grades or with errors, has continued to grow in popularity among collectors in recent decades. Some collectors are drawn to the 1983 quarter simply because it is a key coin in the Washington quarter series. For others, the attraction lies in the potential for finding rare and valuable examples. Whether it's a perfect proof coin, an error variety, or an exceptionally high-quality specimen, the 1983 Washington quarter has become one of the most sought-after coins of the modern era. But how much is the 1983 Washington quarter worth today? Well, like all coins, its value is determined by a variety of factors: rarity, condition, mint mark, and of course, any errors or unique features. For most people, the value of a standard 1983 Washington quarter is relatively low. It will typically be worth just face value or a small premium if it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. However, as is often the case in coin collecting, the true value of a coin can be far higher when it is in exceptional condition or has some special feature that makes it unique. In fact, some 1983 Washington quarters have sold for astonishing sums. For example, one particular coin, graded MS-67 and boasting an exceptional strike quality, recently sold for an incredible $123,700 at auction. This sale shocked the numismatic world, setting a new precedent for the value of a coin that many might have thought was just another routine issue. How did a simple 1983 Washington quarter command such a hefty price tag? The coin's flawless condition, combined with its rarity in such a high grade, made it a highly prized piece for collectors who were eager to own a perfect specimen from a key year in the Washington quarter series. This impressive sale highlights the fact that coin values are not always determined by a coin's age or historical importance, but rather by its rarity and the demand from collectors who are looking for that perfect piece to complete their collection. The 1983 Washington quarter, while a relatively modern issue, has proven that it has the potential to be an extraordinary investment for those who are patient and have an eye for quality. What makes the 1983 Washington quarter stand out in the world of numismatics? It's a coin that carries both historical significance and modern appeal. Whether it's the simple elegance of George Washington's portrait, the eagle soaring proudly on the reverse, or the fact that it represents a key year in the ongoing evolution of U.S. coinage, the 1983 Washington quarter has earned its place among collectors as a coin worth seeking out. With the potential to reach values as high as $123,700, the 1983 Washington quarter is an excellent example of how even relatively recent coins can become highly sought after in the world of numismatics. Whether you're a seasoned collector looking to add to your portfolio or someone just beginning to explore the world of coin collecting, the 1983 Washington quarter represents an opportunity to own a piece of history with significant value. Keep your eyes peeled, because you never know when you might stumble upon the next big find in the world of coin collecting. As we've learned, the value of a 1983 Washington quarter can be astounding, particularly when the coin is in high-grade condition or features a rare error. If you're lucky enough to find one of these remarkable coins, you might just hold in your hands a piece of American history that could be worth more than you ever imagined.